Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, on this fine Monday, we're going over the new yellow SS4 Daima deck. Now, I know this is a little backwards because yesterday being Sunday, I put out gameplay of this against my friend Dane, and normally, you would go over the deck on a channel before actually showcasing any sort of gameplay, but that's just not how the timeline worked, and I didn't have this video ready before yesterday, and I wanted to get something out, and I just wanted to be the first person to get out gameplay of this deck. We did it. You guys are loving the video, seemingly, regardless of any imperfections in that gameplay that there was. But glad you're liking it, and like I said, today we're going over the deck here. So this is kind of our deck overview. I'm kind of going to go over everything that we've seen revealed for it. I'm pretty sure it's all of yellow. I'm going to give you, final thoughts, a sample deck list, essentially my first take on like what I'll be practicing with it immediately until people start to polish it up. So here we are. This is yellow SS4 Daima Goku, and up front here, of course, you have the SS3 Vegeta SR, and then you have the SLR here. Now, surprise, surprise, it's him standing on a rock, gripping it with his big monkey fist. We're going to see this art all the time with this character, and of course they simply had to make it the SLR. I like that they gave it somewhat of a real background. Like behind him, of course, are like the spikes coming out of the battle arena that they're on during this final fight. You got the haze and the darkness of the demon realm and stuff like that. So that is the SLR. It is a good looking SLR, even if it's not super original art wise. That's his pose, man. That's what he's gonna be. So let's go into this thing. Leader front and back. On the front side, it's pretty simple. It's just when you attack, top 5 for a yellow Demon Realm card, add it to your hand, shuffle. No cost on that, which is fine. You awaken when you're at 4 or less, or if you have 2 or more energy, and a yellow Z unison with a cost of 1. Great. You are a draw 2 leader. Okay, it's pretty much what they've been doing for most leaders the last couple sets. Pick down a 6. Very cool. So that's all normal for the most part. And we get to the back. Now, the back is very different because right away you see a permanent. The permanent is that evolve skills on your yellow Demon Realm cards can be activated at counterplay timing. So this is a really cool permanent. It's unique, allows you to kind of bend the game a little bit to do things that no other deck can do because they don't have this permanent. Most of the cards are great and powerful and have on-play effects that are disruption effects that, again, you play on your opponent's turn. So it's not just a classic yellow deck of the first thing they do, you slam down Nimbus, and then you wait till your next turn. No, you've got a lot of battle tricks here. You can get by on turns without having a Nimbus, which means you're not pitching cards and using a strong floodgate early on against more aggro decks. So it is very, very good. And then it's going to activate main battle. Okay, so at main battle, meaning you can do this on your turn and your opponent's turn. But once per turn, you play up to 1 yellow Demon Realm card with a cost of 1 from your deck or drop in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. So, of course, you have cantrips, you have searchers, and then you have other ones that do other things, right? We'll get into the Goku being the one that doesn't draw, but it rests a battle card or unison, I believe. Obviously, we're going to get into that here shortly. But basically, these one costs have effects that either you're gaining resources or doing something that allows you to like gain advantage on your opponent's turn. And then you're able to do that on both players' turn, which then sets up evolves for free. You're not having to pay 1 energy to get these little bodies on board. You're doing it for free. And so like and you're also drawing or potentially drawing on each person's turn. If you're playing the Kuu, you're drawing on your opponent's turn and your turn. If you're playing Goku, you're not drawing, but you're getting disruption. If you're playing Vegeta, it's top 3 and stuff like that. So very, very good. Again, foundational level of draw on both players' turns is always very, very good to know whether a leader is going to have a high or low floor. And this one, it's pretty high floor. All right, so right off the bat, just like the generic yellow. Okay, so the 1 cost unison you need to awaken is an SR. It is the red Purunga. So with this one, it comes in, it's a 15k. It cannot attack. And then it's a +2 first activate main, which is place a card at the bottom of your deck. Play up to 1 yellow battle card with a cost of 1 and 5k combo power from your deck or drop in rest mode with its skills negated for the turn. Then shuffle your deck. So that's generic. It doesn't say like Demon Realm or anything. So like this is something that you could tech in any other yellow deck that wants to bring out small bodies for free. Yeah, you're losing a card in hand, but like normally the card you play is a searcher or a cantrip. So you're still getting it back in some way, shape, or form. If this was just a free body plus the draw or whatever on it without bottom decking the card, this would be very, very strong, especially for yellow control decks, for sifting through your deck and stuff like that. So they did a good job, I think, curtailing this effect from being kind of crazy. And then it's got an activate main secondary one. That's the -7. All Shenrons have a -7 because it's always about the 7 Dragon Balls. This is choose your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, negate their skills for the turn, and KO them. So pop through barrier, and you also ignore any effects of when this KO does something. Okay, very, very cool. Then on the right here, this continues the theme. Like each color is getting a new bottom deck 1, draw 2 super combo with different traits. So red had Raditz, which was a Saiyan, and then we got an Android and Android 18, which is very good for red droids, red 13, you name it. And then here in yellow, we had Hercule and Krillin, which are both Earthlings. And while there's a lot of stuff that grabs Earthlings, and those have been fine, this is a Saiyan. So now for any yellow deck that searches for a yellow Saiyan with a cost of whatever or less, or just no cost at all, you're now able to grab super combos. So this is a huge buff to yellow decks that now no longer have to rely on Krillin or Hercule to have any form of a bottom deck 1, draw 2 super combo. So this is awesome. Awesome card to see. Now, getting into, and I have, of course, forgot to just slap the word Goku here at the top. Don't mind this. You're not seeing anything at all. But these are the Gokus that we know of so far. We know there's an SCR coming. Yes, it's a Goku. We'll just go over when that comes out, but this is what we got so far, and it's actually still pretty good even without the SCR. So here's our 1-cost Goku. It's got an auto that when it's played, choose to one of your opponent's battle cards or unisons and switch it to rest mode. This is great. The fact that it hits unisons and it's disruption. So if like your opponent's starting a turn with at least 1 body or 1 unison, you're able to do this if they attack at all before playing anything else, whatever, and you can rest whatever the thing is that they don't attack with first. So this is really good. And then it's got an auto of limit 1. When your Demon Realm card with Evolve is played on top of this card, you draw 1. Okay, so this one doesn't draw on play, but you do end up drawing an additional 1 by doing the thing you want to do, right, which is Evolve on it, whether it's your turn or your opponent's turn. And then as far as your evolve targets so far, you have a 6-cost Goku here that is a 20k barrier blocker. Good stats, great. Its evolve is limit 1 for 1 yellow. If your opponent has 2 or more energy and you draw 1 card, cool. Either on a Son Goku DA or a mini DA, so either one. And as you can see, these are not costs. Or excuse me, not costs. These don't have energy requirements on the cards. So the 6 can evolve on the 1. The 6 can also evolve on another 6, and the 8 can evolve on a 6, a 1, or heck, another 8. They're all limit 1s, of course, but if these things survive, you are able to do that. So being able to establish like a 6 on your turn, or your opponent's turn, excuse me, you switch it to active mode, you block with it, you get some value out of it. And then on your turn, you're able to swing with this, which pops a rest mode battle card, okay, and then you can evolve on top of it with another 6. It restands itself because it's one of its autos, and then you could leave it open to either block or swing with it again to pop something else. Like there's just a lot of cool things here. So again, this barrier blocker, draw 1 on evolve. So if you draw 2 if you evolve the 6 on a 1, right? 1 for the 1's effective being evolved on, 1 for the evolve cost of the 6. So huge. You're still drawing enough cards, which is great. And then this 8 here, we need to focus on for a second, because this thing is like yellow's version of Solidarity. And if like this is a rare, but like this is going to be the SPR for yellow, because this is way too pushed. And they're pushing uncommons and rares and stuff like that, knowing they're going to get an SPR. So they basically take an SR level card and downgrade it a rarity or 2 just because they know they're going to give it an SPR. So look at this thing. This is a 35k double duel for 2 yellow. You do not draw as part of its evolve effect, which is fine because this thing is so strong. When this card is played, you do switch to active mode. So if you have a 6 on board that you swung with earlier in the turn, and it survived from the turn prior, so you just pay 2 more to restand it and get this full effect as well. And then once per turn, when this card attacks, choose 2 of your opponent's cards, 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, negate their skills for the turn, and KO them. So you are wiping 2 things through barrier, not in rest mode. This is a yellow card that when you're swinging, you're popping 2 things through barrier, not in rest mode. Like this thing reads as a green card, but it's in yellow. And you play it for 2, and it's just gonna do a whole lot of stuff. And it's like how is this thing not better than Solidarity? Solidarity is one 35k double that you pop something through barrier and your opponent discards one card. Okay, this is double duel for popping two things through barrier, and essentially you're sacrificing discard of your opponent's hand for an extra 35 double swing. This card is so pushed. This is just what you're going to do to win the game. And of course, this is the deck that they're going to push a little bit because it's Daima, it's SS4 Goku for the first time. Of course they are. So what a fantastic card. This thing is so strong. Check out the gameplay. It did a lot of work. That's all I'm going to say. Check out the gameplay. All right, moving on. Vegeta's cool. You have your one-drop Vegeta, which is when he's played, he's look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 1 yellow Demon Realm card in your hand, then place the remaining cards at the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. So remember this, because Masters usually shuffles, but this is a Fusion World thing for whatever reason. It's a top 3, and then you place the remaining at the bottom deck after you take one. So do not shuffle, place at the bottom of your deck. It's also got an activate main limit 1. You can pitch him from your hand to look at up to 7 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 yellow Demon Realm with an evolve skill to your hand. So playing him, it's a much smaller pool to look through and potentially add to your hand, but you get the body on board, or you could pitch him to top 7 for specifically an evolve card. So, you know, there's, if you turn 1, you want to play something else that's a draw or search or whatever, you have 2 of these, pitch 1 to then top 7, look for your evolve. This is a really good consistency piece. I like it a lot. And then we've got one of the other SRs, which is the SS3 Vegeta. Of course, we need SS3 Vegeta. He's a deflect, double strike, 25k. Okay, good stats. Evolves for 1, and you draw as part of the cost. Okay, if your opponent has 2 or more energy, so you can get it out early. It's very good. Like all the other evolves, when this card is played, switch it to active mode, and then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and negate its skills until the end of your opponent's turn. So this is obviously not as good as the ACOS Goku, but I mean, there's a place for it. You are evolving it for just 1 again. You're drawing, so it's replacing itself. It's a 25 body, which is good. This is only a 1 energy investment because more than likely you're playing the Vegeta for free. So like for 1 energy, yes, this is very good. And then this is one of the things that you can play on your opponent's turn to, I mean, it's a gotcha trick, right? Counterplay. So they play out their double striker, their boss, or whatever, some really good card that they're hoping to get a ton of value for. And as long as that thing doesn't pop your Vegeta on play, you are able to play this Vegeta, restand it so it can't be attacked into, and then you get to negate the skills of whatever they just played, which is absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of places for this. I found playing this just always felt really good. I like it a lot. So solid card. Here's your Majin Duus. All right, so your 1 cost, here's your cantrip. When it's played, draw 1. It has an auto that when this Demon Realm card is, or when, excuse me, a Demon Realm card is evolved on top of it, the top card of that gains barrier for the turn. So you're always giving barrier to your 5 cost here, which in my face is in the way, I apologize. It's a revenge blocker, 20k body. You draw 1 on the evolve cost when your opponent has 2 or more. When this card is played, switch it to active mode, so you get your revenge blocker back, or at least active, right? Then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards or unisons, ignoring barrier, and switch it to rest mode. So we're ignoring barrier a lot, whether it's negating skills, switching them in rest mode, popping them. Like, barrier is not going to save you from the effects of what these cards are going to do. So that is very, very good for keeping the power level of this deck high compared to a lot of other decks that can utilize barrier cards very well. So yes, play this. If your opponent already has a threat on board and they don't swing with it, like, you know, first to start the turn before they start playing anything, what have you, you can get people with this, tap down their really good. I mean, tap down like their Boo unison if they don't swing with it, the Android 18 unison, or Deborah or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like there's tons of good unisons that if your opponent doesn't sequence correctly with this threatening on board, then it's going to hurt them. So very, very solid card. Moving on to then, of course, there's Duu. There's got to be Kuu. So here the Kuu is your, it's a 1-drop negate that simply negate the attack and play this card. It's limit 1. It has a permanent that if your life is at 4 or less and you have a yellow demon realm card with an evolved skill in play, you may activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So don't be like me, who read this card, I promise, multiple times before actually playing my first game with the deck on Sunday against Dane. And for whatever reason, when I look at this permanent, I skip that first line because I see the evolve skill highlighted in red, and I just go straight to that. It's, for all I know, I see yellow demon realm card, and I'm like, oh, if your leader's a yellow demon realm card with and you have an evolve skill in card play, whatever. I just threw this thing down, man. I was like, no, because he's, Dane's like aggroing me or whatever with a Goku Black. And I'm like, no, I'm going to throw this free negate down thinking it's completely legal. It absolutely was not. So don't be like me. Read your cards. I know that's easier said than done. We all read our cards. It's just for whatever reason, things just don't make sense or click in the brain sometimes. So not a free negate until you have 4 or less. Anyway, auto, if it's your opponent's turn, when this card is played during this turn, the next time you activate an evolve skill on a Majin Kuu DA card from your hand, reduce the skill cost by 1 yellow. So for the turn, you are essentially free playing your 8. Just had to make sure I was double checking here if that was like just simply for the next time or if it's just for this, the turn you play it, and it is for the turn you play it. So you play this out to negate an attack, and then if your opponent plays anything, opens up a counterplay window at all, you slam down this 8-cost Majin Kuu, which is a 30k blocker. When you evolve it, you do draw 1, your opponent has 2 or more, so you kind of can start evolving these things pretty quickly, right? In the game. Its auto is when this card activates blocks or switch to active mode. Now, the first time I read this, when you normally see a skill like this, it's like a once per turn auto. When this card blocks, restand it. Okay, this one is missing the once per turn. And obviously it's on purpose because they want you to just have this dumb 30k blocker card that restands over and over and over again. So it's like, depending on who you're playing and what your opponent has access to as far as removal, this thing is just like ending a turn. Every time it blocks, 30k. Unless you can get rid of it, it's going to keep restanding. So that's incredible. Not only is that like a good effect for the most part, you've got an activate main battle that's essentially the same thing as your leader. Now this is activate main battle once per turn, play up to 1 yellow demon realm card with a cost of 1 in your drop in rest mode with the skills negated for the turn. So it's kind of a mix between Purunga and the leader because it's activate main battle, you're playing it in rest mode, but this one's only from the drop, right? Only from the drop, not your deck, and then its skills are negated. So that's the Purunga part. Playing it from the playing it activating battle speed is the leader. So this is a little bit in between. Still, really good effect to have. If you're playing out one cost like twice on your turn with your leader in Purunga, and then on your opponent's turn with this, you're playing out 2 more 1 cost bodies. So you're just like gaining resources this way. Even if you're not drawing off like the coup because it's negated, it's still a body on board that your opponent has to worry about, or you capitalize on that surviving until your turn. So this is a great card. All very good cards so far as these evolves go. Moving on, this is the 3rd SR that was revealed for yellow. Now that's actually crazy now that I'm thinking about it. That yellow is seemingly we have a singular yellow leader because red and yellow were single this set because blue and green were single last set. But red as a singular color got oh my god, it did get 3. Never mind, I'm crazy because I like cooler last set only got 2 SRs. Yes, it was the triple name and it was the cooler SR6. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I'm pretty sure it only got 2. And then Lucifer, I'm pretty sure was just the Lucifer SR, and I also feel like I'm kind of tripping on that as well. But like they didn't get 3, I'm pretty sure. So for both red and yellow to get 3 SRs, despite them only having the singular leader, that's crazy. Good for them, I guess. Either way, long story short, this is the Gomah SR. So this is a 1 cost 20k barrier body. Okay, good statted, draws on play, sweet. You specifically have to have 3 or more, so fairly early, not the worst. So once per turn auto, choose one of your cards and switch it to rest mode. When you play a yellow card, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So this like offensively doesn't seem that great because you don't want to be resting your own cards to then rest what your opponent has on board. And that's why defensively, this is much better. Because like normally if you're if it's your turn, your opponent probably swung and did some things. So their stuff is in rest mode already, unless there's, you know, a standing blocker or something like that. But defensively, you're able to play this thing, or when this is on the board and you activate main to play out your whatever it is, little guys or whomever. If you have something standing to rest, which probably is just this card, because you don't want to rest your other good bodies, then you can tap, you know, something your opponent's doing. So you play out like 1-cost Goku here, taps a battle card or a unison. And then if you tap down Gomah, if you didn't swing with it, or this is actually choose any of your cards and switch it to rest mode. So you can choose Purunga. Choose one of your cards and switch to rest mode. So you can always tap Purunga with this thing actually. So defensively, offensively, whatever. And then you can rest one of your opponent's battle cards. So, like, if your opponent has an established board, the first time they attack, you go, okay, activate Battle Goku, we'll rest this thing, tap Purunga, rest another battle card. So your opponent swings once, and you essentially stop 2 other attacks without spending any energy, and then you go on about your life. So that's huge. And then his secondary auto is at the end of the turn, choose it to one of your yellow battle cards and switch it to active mode. So this allows you to swing with, say, the 6-cost barrier blocker Goku, and then be fine because you're going to restand it. Or if you had, for whatever reason, the 5-cost Duu, that's a blocker revenge, swing with him as a 20k, restand him with this effect. So that's kind of the main thing that he does. I didn't think the first auto was really going to be that prevalent, but the secondary auto, just being able to restand one of your yellow battle cards, to always have potentially something, if you don't have a unison, for this to tap for its first effect, I think is fine. So fine enough card. I did not have this in the deck when I played a game against Dane. When I played, I didn't have this. I just seemed like I could always be playing something better, be playing the other evolves and stuff like that. But I think there's a place for this. So I put 3 of them in my deck list. We'll see here, because I want to try it out. I think there is something to be had here. There's nothing, like, this isn't unique, and there's something to be said for building a board of barrier bodies, because if you're playing a color that doesn't have good barrier removal, then you just have a bunch. You have multiple 6-cost Gokus. You can have 1 or 2 of these. I just think it's strong. I think at the very minimum, you're building a pretty good board. All right, so here is my sample deck list. So this is essentially what I played the other day. But then this blue Gomah is the SR Gomah. They don't have it on Deck Planet yet, but this is what that's supposed to be. So right off the bat, 4 of each of these. You want to be able to always thin your deck. And if you're like me in that game, when I had 6 life left, I was like looking through all my stuff, and I was trying to set up plays for the Evolve Vegeta, and I ended up having one Vegeta between my hand and my deck, and there were 3 Vegeta in my 6 life. So that wasn't great. You know, you could play less. You could probably get away with it, and it's fine. But it just felt so good always having one to at least play from the deck, so you're always thinning. The Kuu isn't one you grab, so you have to look at it as like the Goku, Vegeta, and Duu are the ones you're always trying to thin from your deck for the most part, because again, Kuu is, you're never playing it unless you don't want it as a negate, but you can play it defensively off the leader effect to come in, and then of course you still get the free evolve because if you play it on your opponent's turn, blah blah blah. So there is something there, but for the most part, offensively it's just these 3. You can throw in Kuu defensively. So 4. I want to see them. I always want to have them available no matter what. I'm not going to get RNG'd. You're not going to catch me with that. My final 1 cost here is 2 of the Spirit Boost Negate 17. In the game against Dane and Goku Black, when I was like pretty much trying to survive his final assault, this was a surprise card. This was something I kept always as an oh shit button, and there's nothing like having an oh shit button come through in that exact moment. So I love being able to fit these Spirit Boost negates in whenever possible, and it really seems like we're getting a bunch of decks this set specifically that want to use that have a unison to like allow you to awaken early and stuff like that. So I think these are going to be very prevalent in the meta now, and these are worth something. Go get them. If you haven't, go get your foils, whatever. These are going to be great. So 2 of those, because I always want to make sure I have an oh shit button. You got a yellow unison in play immediately. I want to have Prideful Transformation. In that same game, I did this to Evil Saiyan SCR, so I kept a 40k body from swinging. Again, every little thing counts when you're tapped out and or only have 1 energy to survive an onslaught. So 3 of these are good. Like, there are some games where you want to see this as early as possible to stop your opponent's first like threat that you know is going to come down if they high roll and they see it on curve. And then sometimes this again is just a really good card to hold until the final turn that it's going to be, and you save it for whatever the best thing is that it can hit that your opponent's playing. So 3 of these. 3 of the Gomah, we kind of talked about it. Helps with your shenanigans. 20k barrier body for 1, draw 1. It's good. It's fine. Only 3 of the Majin Duu here evolve. I never played this in that game, and I just felt like you were always wanting to play the other 3. There's a place for this when we play as a community, play more games and figure out what decks in the meta this like 5-cost coup is good against, and you want to prioritize. Then we'll see just how many decks that is, and if there's a lot and it's prevalent, we'll move it up to 4. Right now it's just 3 because you just want to see your evolves. And then 444 of the Vegeta, Goku, and Kuu, specifically the 6-cost Goku. Yeah, you want to see all of them. And I even have 4 of the 8-cost. I understand that this is like the bigger one. You don't play it as early, but it's just like this is so good. And the fact that you can play it on any Goku DA, it's just like the energy restriction. I think your opponent needs to have 3. You're yellow. You're going to go later. You want to be able to slam this like in back-to-back turns, if not 3 turns in a row. You just simply want to see it, right? So it's 1 extra card. Who cares? You're thinning the deck out anyway. Play 4. Always see it. Feel really good about it. 2 of the monkeys, because going on with this like barrier body board build-up, all that alliteration, you like that. 20k barrier, 20k barrier, 30k barrier. It just feels like for 1 energy, getting these high-value bodies that turn after turn, if your opponent can't remove them, is going to be very, very good. And then this, obviously, you tap something down to negate the skills of something, and then if you have the Gomah on the board at the same time, you just restand whatever it is you tap down. So if you need to tap something down that's important at the end of the turn, you can do this. So if you want to if you need to tap something down that's very good, or you for some reason you're forced to tap down your 30k monkey for his own effect, Gomah's just going to restand your monkey, what have you, whatever. You get what I'm saying. They're all synergistic and making sure that you don't have to leave stuff in rest mode when your turn ends. For the super combo, hell yeah. Gogeta, I don't own this thing. It's the best yellow SCR. Normally I'm playing Picklehan or Purunga, but normally Purunga is more of a green SCR for me. Gogeta, it's too good. Why not? 3 Nimbus. You have so many tools and stuff like this to play on your opponent's turn and disruption that you don't always need 3, or you don't need a Nimbus like every single turn, right, to survive. So I play 3 of these. You can move it to 4 if you just want a consistency thing, but 3 just felt fine. 3's fine. 1 release from Evil, because sometimes if you know your opponent's deck well enough and you know the best moment where slamming down release from Evil like shits on them, this is going to feel really good. And in my game against Dane, again in that final onslaught, I saved this for his Rose Unison, the 15k blocker that restands itself. So he was essentially going to use it as a dual attacker. And this helped take 1 more attack away, which made the difference in the end. And then 1 token negate. Again, token negates have kind of been phased out if you're not red. Red or black, right? Yellow has way too many defenses. Why do you need it? Sometimes you just do. Like, I always feel like there's numerous times in almost every game I play where I would have loved to have seen a token negate. And I don't think you need more than 1 or 2 ever. But like with everyone always wanted to take someone down from 5 to 3 with like a well-timed double strike that's pretty easy to sequence when you're good. It's just nice to be able to say, no, I'll take myself down to 4, so I'm as the healthy as I can be to get my super combos online. I get a blocker on board. They got to worry about it. If not, it's just there. I just like it. I like having the 1 extra. Again, it's the theme is as many oh shit buttons as you can muster. So this is, I want to say 53. But again, this thing filters a lot. You could probably put in more. There's the Nova Chain. There's Time Magics. There's just a bunch of things that you can do. Pick your flavor. This is just a good, solid, polished deck. It simply does what I believe the deck wants to do and nothing else. No frills. I liked it. But if you have any thoughts about this deck, go ahead and put them in the comments below, because you just never know. There's so many cards, man. Sometimes you just forget that something exists for a minute, and then someone reminds you and you're like, yeah, that rocks. Let's go with that. So hit the comments. Tell me what you like about the deck, and how you would personally build it as well. And then these are just my final thoughts. So I kind of talked about at the beginning, but the leader permanent is unique. It's a strong permanent, and it allows you to kind of bend the rules of the game in your favor. So like the way that red SS4 Gogeta from Zenkai 1 was like comboing all your stuff in rest mode, Android 21 being able to tap your cards for its battle cards, stuff like that always tends to make decks pretty strong. So I like the floor and the potential of it just by this alone. It's a good permanent, bends the rules in your favor, which is absolutely wonderful. So the hand size of the deck is not the greatest. I felt like I always had like 9 or 10 in hand. When you're not using the leader ability on your turn and your opponent's turn consistently to play a card that draws and replaces itself, or pluses 1, right? Because you're pulling it from your deck or drop, you're just simply not building your hand too much. And the thing is that the 1-cost Goku on play doesn't necessarily doesn't draw. Excuse me. Of course, it doesn't draw. And if you don't end up evolving on it the turn it's played, then you're not getting like the draws and stuff, right? So there's ways for your opponent to play and for the games to go where you're not maximizing your draw potential, which is going to leave you feeling like you just don't have the greatest hand in the world. The good thing is that you've got good value cards. So while I didn't have the biggest hand in the gameplay we posted, it still felt good because I had the right cards, and the cards I did have just gained a lot of value when played in the best situation at the best time. So I enjoyed that. The archetype core takes up a lot of space, but there's not a ton of filler. So like there's not cards where you go, I have to include this for like this very shallow reason. They all play a role. They all help you deck thin. They all do something. So that's what I really liked. Normally I'm not a fan of big core decks because it's so little space and so little things. No, with the way this thing thins, you could play a higher deck count, 55 plus, because of that. So I enjoyed that. The only downside is if you go back to the Vegeta searcher, that's a top 3 for a Demon Realm only. If you start making the fraction of your Demon Realm archetype smaller and lowering the chances of that searcher is going to feel bad. I'm pretty sure I whipped at least once, but that's up to you as the deck builder. And then finally, it's a good cast of barrier bodies, which I kind of talked about throughout. And you have access to free negates and disruption cards, which if your opponent isn't aware of like everything that you're able to do and what your cards do, then they're going to get got more than once. And that's going to feel really good knowing that you as the driver is going to make your opponent uncomfortable. And that's a way to also build your confidence in the matchup of like you knowing that your opponent has to know everything that his deck can do and yours to like a T. You're a yellow deck. They don't just have to worry about Nimbus and the generic yellow stuff. You're about to play crazy stuff. It could be a number of things on their turn because they don't know what's in your hand. They don't know what you're going to play with your, leader skill on their turn to set up something further, right? So this was a fun deck. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to be meta warping. I think it's going to be strong and it's going to have its really good matchups. With time, we may see that it has really bad matchups. Who knows? But either way, really, really fun deck. And you guys should try it out. Normally, I'm a yellow player, but I think in my case split, Dane is going to get this deck. So if I want to build it, I'll have to find it from somebody else. So maybe someone out there listening to this, you can sell me the stuff when the set releases. But that's it, guys. Those are my final thoughts. Great deck. Had a really good time playing it. Cards are beautiful. They're clean. They're great. And I can't wait for the set. So appreciate you guys listening. And yeah, we will see you in the next one.